The Trump-class Guided Missile Battleship, designated BBGX, represents the U.S. Navy's answer to a command and control crisis that the retirement of the Ticonderoga-class cruisers has turned into an operational emergency. Born from the physical impossibility of fitting battle space management suites, hypersonic weapons, and sufficient magazine depth into the canceled DDGX destroyer hull, the design was scaled to a 35,000-ton, 860-foot platform intended to serve as the quarterback of every carrier strike group, whether built around a Nimitz or a Ford. As the centerpiece of a high-low force architecture that pairs it with frigates, unmanned missile magazines, and destroyers, the program carries a lead ship price comparable to a Ford-class carrier and a single overriding bet that massed defensive capability, concentrated in a single hull, can survive and prevail in the missile-saturated littorals of the Indo-Pacific. The accelerated retirement of the Ticonderoga-class cruisers has removed more than just missile tubes. It has eliminated the dedicated air defense commander suite that was the operational brain of the carrier strike group. That suite, physically separate from the ship's own combat information center, was purpose-built to maintain the recognized air picture, deconflict engagements, and command the layered defense of the force. Importantly, this function is not unique to the Gerald R. Ford class. Every Nimitz-class carrier, of which 11 remain commissioned, has relied on a Ticonderoga to provide the embarked ADC staff, because a carrier's own CIC is optimized for strike warfare, not the continuous, wide-area battle management that air defense demands. The Arleigh Burke Flight 3 destroyer, despite its AN/SPY-6 radar, possesses no analogous command suite, no surge berthing, and insufficient power and cooling margins to serve. The accelerated retirement of the Ticonderoga-class cruisers has removed more than just missile tubes. It has eliminated the dedicated air defense commander suite that was the operational brain of the carrier strike group. That suite, physically separate from the ship's own combat information center, was purpose-built to maintain the recognized air picture, deconflict engagements, and command the layered defense of the force. Importantly, this function is not unique to the Gerald R. Ford class. Every Nimitz-class carrier, of which 11 remain commissioned, has relied on a Ticonderoga to provide the embarked ADC staff, because a carrier's own CIC is optimized for strike warfare, not the continuous, wide-area battle management that air defense demands. The Arleigh Burke Flight 3 destroyer, despite its AN/SPY-6 radar, possesses no analogous command suite, no surge berthing, and insufficient power and cooling margins to serve as a strike group quarterback. The fleet is therefore facing a carrier escort crisis that spans every nuclear-powered flat top in the inventory, leaving the Navy's most valuable assets without the specialized command node they have depended upon for 4 decades. The original successor to the Ticonderoga was the DDGX next-gen destroyer, a 13,500-ton design that was to be the future large-surface combatant. Rear Admiral Trinket confirmed that the platform could not simultaneously accommodate a large-caliber gun, a full Mk-41 BLS battery, and a 12-tube conventional prompt strike hypersonic system without exceeding every practical weight, space, and stability margin. That engineering ceiling forced the Navy to scale the hull to 35,000-plus tons and 860 feet, officially designating it BBGX, the Trump-class Guided Missile Battleship. The reclassification is not cosmetic. It reflects a structural acknowledgement that the volume required for command and control density, magazine depth, and power-hungry defensive systems exceeds what any destroyer or cruiser hull can sustain. The designation further signals that this ship is being built to integrate seamlessly into the high-threat Escort grid, accountable for the survival of Nimitz and Ford-class carriers alike. The armament layout reaffirms why the BBGX is not simply a large cruiser. The design integrates 128 Mark 41 VLS cells distributed across 3 blocks, 12 dedicated tubes for CPS hypersonic glide vehicles, and the 32 megajoule electromagnetic railgun for precision surface fires. Layered directed energy weapons between 300 and 600 kilowatts are positioned to defeat saturation drone attacks, while the platform is provisioned for the SLCM-N, returning a theater strategic signaling role to the surface fleet for the first time since the early 1990s. A Burke cannot carry this combination. A Ticonderoga never could. The Trump-class fuses the magazine depth of a capital ship with the power generation and thermal management required to employ those weapons, while simultaneously running the air defense battle, a dual demand that directly underwrites its role as the shield for any carrier it is assigned to escort. Lead ship cost estimates range from $14 to over $18 billion, a figure that forces a specific operational architecture. Secretary Phelan's high-low mix envisions 1 or 2 Trump-class BBGX platforms acting as the command and air defense hub for a carrier strike group, whether built around the Nimitz or a Ford, while Arleigh Burke destroyers concentrate on anti-submarine warfare and zone coverage. The BBGX will network with cheaper FFX frigates handling maritime security tasks, and with large unmanned surface vessels operating as floating missile magazines that extend the battleship's magazine depth without increasing crew exposure. This hub-and-spoke grid is carrier-agnostic by design. The command logic, sensor fusion, and hard kill envelope provided by the BBGX are required irrespective of the carrier's hull age or reactor type, because no carrier can safely operate in a peer-contested environment without a dedicated area air defense command ship. The central criticism remains unchanged. A 35,000-ton, $17 billion platform that must stay close to the carrier it protects becomes the mathematically certain aim point in any high-end engagement. And the closure rates of hypersonic weapons render the defensive geometry exceedingly fragile. The ambition, a golden fleet of more than 20 such hulls, is a bet that mass, power, and layered directed energy defenses can tilt the cost-exchange ratio back toward the defender, and that losing the command coherence once provided by the Ticonderoga is a greater operational risk than placing that command function inside a single, heavily armored signature. This is a calculation that applies equally to the Nimitz and Ford classes, neither of which can fight the air battle unassisted. The Navy is now presenting that calculation to Congress not as a preference, but as a structural necessity, and the silence that follows will determine whether the carrier strike group, the centerpiece of American maritime power, can ever again fight as a coordinated whole.